There's a calm surrender to the rush of day, when the heat of the rolling wind can be turned away. An enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this restless warrior just to be with you. And can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we got this far. Can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe the very best. Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John. This, of course, he wrote for the movie The Lion King back in the 90s. Yes, he plays it on piano, obviously, and in this lesson I teach you how to play it on guitar. It is relatively easy to transcribe it from one instrument to the other. It really depends also on your level of playing. I do suggest, I hope, that you are comfortable fingerpicking already, because that's the arrangement that I chose to go for, a fingerstyle one. Don't get me wrong, you can totally strum this if you would want to. It has its own cons and pros and whatever not. But I like to indeed fingerpick it, as when I'm playing it by myself, that is. Okay, so you could have seen already a little bit there. As for the chords, well, we're going to play this in the key of G, with chord shapes in that particular key. Then put the capo here on the 3rd fret, and you're in the absolute key of B flat, and that is how it was originally recorded. You can put it, of course, anywhere you like in order to match it with the range of your voice. However, so as for the chords, there aren't that many. Of course, the usual suspects: a G, a C, and a D. So the 3 major chords. And there is E minor in there, A minor is in there, so 2 minor ones. So there's no B minor. Yes, okay. So yes, those, and then there's one out of the key, which would be an A major with a C sharp in the bass, and then there are quite a few like inversions of chords. So like in the intro already, you start out with a G, then you move to a D, but with an F sharp in the bass, then to C with an E in the bass, then to a G with a D in the bass, or a G sus4 at first. Now it's really a G. C, already mentioned that one. Or a G with a B in the bass. That one appears quite a bit in there as well. And yes, A minor, already mentioned it. A minor 7 in particular, yes. And then, yes, I already mentioned the other ones. I think D7 sus4. I break down all those chords and fingerings, of course, in these lessons, because sometimes you might want to fret it like this or like that, depending on where you're coming from, where you're going to, and what is the most efficient way to transition and such, and to make it sound like everything is sustaining. That I always find very important. So we go through the progression, which is somewhat straightforward. Most of those chords are like 2 beats, and quite well, a few are like here just 1 beat. So in a 4/4 time measure you have 4 chords. Anyway, so that is one thing. I already mentioned the finger picking. I do expect you to be a little bit comfortable with that. So what I'm mostly playing is something like 1 and 2 and. So 1 and I grab 2 strings, for example, at the same time. 1 and 2 and, like that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, for example. Or I use my thumb. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, so thumb, thumb, fingers, thumb, 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 fingers, thumb, something like that. So you can play sometimes 2 strings or 3 strings or 1 string, really depending on where you are in the song and what you want to hear. So keep in mind, this is not written in stone. I did write a tablature for, well, definitely the intro, of course, and for all the, well, for the other parts, but there is still variation in there. I totally didn't play it exactly the same way as I've just played. So you can, you know, play around with that. But I do give you a starting point there for sure. Anyway, so what else? Yes, like I mentioned, of course you can strum this. And then I would say keep this really simple and kind of like the same. So a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm basically going with my thumb from one bass note to the other and then a strum. 1 and 2 and like so. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and thumb, thumb. Okay. Or just one bass note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I do find it very important to hit those bass notes, especially because those are inversions. You want to hear how the bass line goes. Okay, so yes, as for the picking, I already of course mentioned it. It is mostly 8 notes with 16s as well. So something like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and something like that could happen like here: 1 and 3 and 4 and 1. Things like that. I do give you a close-up for both hands so you can hear and see what I'm talking about now. Okay, so we break down, of course, the intro with this melody which is going on in there. It's very easy. It's all in the chords for that matter. It is really a matter of picking the right notes and such. Okay, enough talking because we really need to get to it. You can find this lesson at totallyguitars.com. I break down everything that I just talked about and I hope you check it out.